What if you and your spouse think differently on disciplining your children? Because as if marriage isn't difficult enough, now you add children into the mix, and you both were raised differently, and now suddenly a struggle in your marriage is how to discipline the children. You think your spouse is too harsh. He thinks you're too lenient, and it's causing a lot of dissension. Join us today as Dr. Sean McDowell helps us work through that question. All right, today let's answer this marriage question. What if your spouse thinks differently on disciplining your children? Because we all know this, marriage is of course difficult enough on its own without the added stress of children, but when those children eventually come along, now you have an entirely new set of problems. Because you both want to discipline your kids differently. You both were raised differently with different forms of discipline by your parents. And now that's causing a lot of dissension in your marriage. He's too harsh, you're too lenient. What should you do? This was one of the questions that we had answered at our marriage conference. We called it our Marriage Questions Conference. We spent 8 hours with 3 Bible teachers, Mike Winger, Alan Parr, and Dr. Sean McDowell. All day long, we asked them almost 80 really difficult marriage questions. And Dr. Sean McDowell gets to answer this one, so watch this. Question. My husband and I are both Christians. I don't like how he disciplines our children. I think he's too harsh. He thinks I'm too easy. So, help.
Is it possible that your husband is wrong and he's being too harsh? Yeah, I'd say it's more than possible. It's probably most likely. If this is a mom sense, probably that's the case. Is it possible that he's right and you're wrong? It's possible. I can't answer that definitively because I don't know the nature of your relationship. I just push back because this can go both ways. Now, my guess is in most circumstances, probably 90+% of the time, it's the husband being too harsh than it is the mom. But I throw that out there because when I read a lot of these questions, rather than fixing my spouse, I try to read it through the lens of like, what do I need to change first? Well, with that said, what concerns me more about this is less the exact way you're dealing with disciplining your kids, but that you can't find common ground together. That's actually the deeper concern for me. Because if my wife came to me and said, you're too harsh, you're too this, that would give me pause. And I'm telling you, I might not feel like it in the moment, but I know I would listen and commit to it and hear her out because I value her wisdom. So for me, I wonder if this question is something deeper that's going on where there's a disconnect. And if you get that resolved and listen to each other better, I think you may be able to figure out some of the particulars of discipline. Other thing to keep in mind is we typically parent and discipline out of 2 things. Number 1, how we were parented and disciplined. And second, out of our hurt. A lot of fathers discipline out of hurt because they have been hurt. As Rick Warren said, hurt people hurt people. And sadly, the power disparity with parents and with kids couldn't be greater. You have all the power. And my son's graduating from high school, so at that moment, it makes you rethink a lot of things. And I'll be honest with you, I don't have a lot of really any regrets about parenting my son, if I'm gonna be honest with you. But I look back certain times, I'm like, yeah, I had to apologize for this and apologize for that and adjust this and adjust that. I was reacting out of my own failures, my own insecurities, my own hurts. And so I wonder if your husband is being too harsh, if he's just acting out the model that he saw, and if there's deeper hurt. So my encouragement on this one would be to talk to a counselor who can objectively walk through what's too harsh, what's not too harsh, what's too soft, and give you some objective analysis of where those boundaries can and should be. Start there and approach it that way with your husband. I think you can make some progress.
You said something really interesting because the whole apology thing. I think a lot of people don't realize how important it is to apologize to our kids. When we do something really, like if we're mean to them or we're angry with them, to go back and apologize. And my husband has always done that, and I appreciate to hear you say that, because a lot of people don't realize, they think we're the authority, we should never apologize. But I don't think that's true.
The authority should apologize more.
Exactly.
You have a greater responsibility.
Right, exactly. If this is something that you struggle with in your marriage, then hopefully Sean gave you some really great tools on how to communicate with your spouse better when it comes to this issue of disciplining your children. I thought he did a really amazing job answering this question. If you would like to watch the rest of the session, the link will be below. If you would like to watch the entire conference, the link will be below. And if you would like to know more about our Women's Bible Study, you can go online to womensbiblestudy.com. Have a really good day.